Some things are just meant to be paired together. Peanut butter and jelly. Coffee and donuts. Ham and cheese. Cars and watches. Yep, didn't you know that? What are we talking about today? Cars and watches. The partnerships between luxury car makers and watchmakers isn't new. In fact, it dates back to the 1920s between JLC and Aston Martin. And today, 4 luxury car makers and watchmakers continue to partner together to bring us some extravagant watches. Did I say luxury car makers? Scratch that. They're more than just luxury car makers. They're Uber luxury car makers. No, not this Uber, these Ubers. Mercedes-Benz and IWC, Ferrari and Hublot, Aston Martin and JLC, and Bentley and Breitling. I know, that last pairing's a bit of a head-scratcher. Nonetheless, they've all produced watches that have sold exceedingly well. So let's start with a brief history on these pairings. The Mercedes S-Class has long used the IWC branded analog clock on their dashboard, and in 2009, IWC was commissioned to make a special watch for the SL63 AMG, and that's the IWC Ingenieur. In 2012, Ferrari and Hublot partnered together to make a very special watch, the MP05 La Ferrari watch. It was made of black titanium and had 50 days of power reserve. Oh, and by the way, it also cost on average $250,000. Yep. As I mentioned at the top of the show, the relationship between Jaeger-LeCoultre and Aston Martin dated back to the 1920s when JLC used to make speedometers for the car. And then in 2004, they partnered together to make the JLC AMVOX 1. The name is a combination of Aston Martin's initials, AM, and JLC's famed Memovox timepiece. Bentley and Breitling. In 2002, Bentley introduced us to their most powerful car at the time, the Bentley Continental GT, and commissioned Breitling to create their onboard clock. And then in 2003, Bentley took both first and second place at the legendary Le Mans track, and to help celebrate the victory, Breitling made a limited edition Le Mans timepiece, and it was a huge success, leading the way to a Breitling for Bentley line of watches. Because these cars are so unattainable for most of us, and for purposes of this show, I thought instead of talking about 4 cars, we'll talk about 3 cars. And instead of talking about 3 uber luxury cars, we'll make it more realistic and make them 3 entry-level luxury cars. And if I was CEO for a day for these cars, here are the 3 watch brands that I would want paired with these cars. So when a luxury car manufacturer partners with a watch brand, it's usually because it's what they want conveyed or see the owner of their car wearing. Engines revved? Okay, let's go. Actually, hold on for a second. I feel I need to hit the brakes just for a second to make a really quick public announcement. For those of us who wear or choose to wear an inexpensive timepiece while driving a somewhat expensive car, well, that's fine. There isn't anything wrong with that. Just the same as if there's those of us who choose to wear a more expensive timepiece while driving that same car. It's a preference and or being fortunate. I'm just talking about being as consistently as possible with the original theme of crazy expensive cars paired with watches, except those cars are unrealistic, so I modified it to entry-level luxury cars. Okay, enough Dr. Phil. Back to the show. Okay, let's get to the watch and car pairings. The first car, instead of talking about the Mercedes SL63 AMG, we're going to talk about the Mercedes C-Class, because it's Mercedes' entry-level car. And according to Mercedes, the owner of a C-Class is an up-and-comer who finally has a corner office. So the first watch I can see the owner of a C-Class wearing would be the Rolex Submariner, because I think it's a solid status symbol among watches and is a universal timeless classic. The second watch choice, keeping in theme with the IWC, but instead of the Ingenieur that was for the AMG, I can see the owner of a C-Class wearing an IWC Portuguese. And the third watch would be maybe the Cartier Tank or Roadster. The second car, instead of talking about the Aston Martin, we'll talk about the Lexus IS. According to Lexus, the owner of a Lexus IS are millennials who are tech savvy. So the first watch choice that I could see the owner of a Lexus IS wearing would be the Rolex Explorer 2. The second watch choice would be a Panerai Luminor, and the third watch choice would be maybe the Oris 65 Divers. And the final car and watch pairing, instead of talking about a Bentley, we're going to make it the Cadillac CTS. According to Cadillac, the owner of a CTS are baby boomers who appreciate Americana at its best. So the first watch choice that I can see the owner of a Cadillac CTS wearing would be either the Omega Speedmaster or Seamaster. I'm going to go with Seamaster. The second watch choice would be a JLC Reverso. And the third watch choice, well, I think the Rolex Milgauss. To those of us who are just starting to get into this game of the watch hobby and are thinking you need to drive a really expensive car to match your watch collection, nope, not at all. Your watch collection doesn't need to consist of only expensive watches. It's a very personal collection. And cards on the table, I think it's a lot easier to get behind the wheel of an even $40,000 or $50,000 car because most of us don't plunk down a briefcase full of cash. And we're not required to. All we need to do is make a small down payment, sometimes no down payment at all, agree to the monthly payments, and off we go. We can make a down payment with as little as $1,000 to $1,500. And while we can't get any of the watches from this show with that amount, we can still get some really nice pieces. So my point is, your watch says a lot more about you than your car does. As I was doing my research, there were lots of other watches that could have made the list before these watches made the final list for this show. Let me know which watches you think pair well with these cars, and thanks for watching. I'll see you the next time.